about work permit to permanent residence, things that employers and employees should consider before they make that transition. As you know, here at Ackah Law, we focus on helping people come into Canada as temporary workers or permanent residents and applying all the way to citizenship. So let's assume you're an employer and you have found a foreign worker, or you have transferred one of your employees from another country to Canada and they come as workers. Initially, they may get a work permit for 1 year up to 3 years, which is renewable, depending on the entry that they came in under. So it really depends. If they came in under NAFTA professional, for instance, they could get a 3-year work permit. And often in that time, employers and employees want to secure their status, so they may not need to renew their work permit again unless they know that this transfer or this work permit or this expat opportunity is short term and they're going back for sure. But if they want to stay and they love it here in Canada and the employer's happy with them, you have to now think about what's next. Do you want to apply for permanent residence, or do you want to renew the work permit again for a longer term if you're eligible for another year, 2 or 3 years? So as an employer, you need to know that when you get a work permit employee, generally their work permit lists you as the employer with your name only. And that means they can only work for you. If they have a spouse, the spouse will get the open spousal work permit. But if it relates to just you and the direct employee, their work permit is just for you. So you need to know that there will be some transition, because when they become a permanent resident, they will be eligible to work for any employer, and you're no longer the only one they can work for. And so it makes them more mobile. So obviously for the employee, it's great. They have options. They can cross the street without getting another work permit necessarily, or making a new employer go through that whole process for them. Or for you as the employer, you brought them here and you need to consider what is the timing for changing them to permanent residence, knowing that there may be some some movement, or you may lose them unless you have put together some kind of arrangement where if you support their permanent residence, they either have to pay some of it or part of it over time if they cross the street the minute they get their PR, or however you as a company would like to proceed. So there are many ways to move from worker to permanent residence, and it depends on such factors as the job they're doing, how they came to Canada, which province they're working in, and their education and age. So let's say that they came to Alberta and they transferred and they've worked with you for 12 months. They may have the option of both the Alberta Opportunity Stream for permanent residents, for people who've worked in a skilled position who qualify to move themselves to permanent residence, probably take about 1.5 years. They may also have the Canadian Experience Class option, which is the express entry option for people who've worked for 12 months or more in Canada, assuming they meet the criteria with the right education, the age, have a number of points, and that the government selects them at the cutoff that is appropriate for them to be invited. So that would be the case if it was somebody who was coming to Canada under the permanent residence category for the province. Every province has a different program and a different stream. For instance, there's also the program of the BC has a provincial nominee program. All the provinces have a provincial nominee program, which allows them to look at sponsoring for permanent residents so long as they and the employer meet all the criteria. So these are the ways that people can move to permanent residence. We have the federal stream under express entry from working inside Canada. We have the provincial nominee streams for those who are in Canada already working and meet the 1 year or 2 year criteria, or meet the graduate programs. For instance, they did their master's or PhDs. Certain provinces allow you to apply for permanent residence and qualify. And then there are other streams for investment and entrepreneurs and startups as well, for those who might want to come in under entrepreneurial streams to Canada to be a permanent resident here. So I just want you to consider which perspective, whether you're the employer or the employee, what that means for you to move from work permit to permanent residence. It means you're mobile. It means you don't have a work permit that says your employer, and it means that you can jump ship. But so for the employer, they need to also think about this. If they want to support your PR and if they're financially paying for it, they need to be able to know when is the right time, and there are anything I can do to try to keep the person even after I support their permanent residence. If you'd like to learn more about some of these options, moving from work permit to permanent residence, whether you're the employer or the employee, please give me a call at Ackah Business Immigration Law. We'd love to help you answer all your questions. Thank you. Bye-bye.